Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We'll begin with our top stories. Alleged separatist fighters have reportedly cut off civilians' leg in Kumba. The victim was accused of spying on them and working with the army. Equally, bring your reactions after the killing of 2 men in Guzang, Abatibo Division, Northwest region of Cameroon. And the rising cost of foodstuff and locally produced goods in Cameroon is preoccupying, especially as it is greatly contributed to the high inflation rates in Cameroon. The causes are numerous, and experts emphasize there is the need to increase local production, and this can only be possible with government's assistance. And preparations are hotting up ahead of the grand prestigious Canal award ceremony, but for the fact that fraudsters have begun offering a fake Canal invitation cards to interested persons and rob them of huge sums of money. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Alleged separatist fighters have reportedly cut off civilian leg in Kumba Meme Division, the southwest region of Cameroon. The victim was accused of spying on them and working with the military. As you hear the following story with students, journalists on internship, Kiga.
The leg of a civilian whose identity has not been revealed was cut off yesterday by separatist fighters in Kumba in the southwest region. According to incoming information, the victim, who is an accomplice of the separatists, is accused of spying on them and working in complicity with the army. He has also reportedly been selling drugs to the separatist fighters, which will weaken and put them to sleep, thereby making it easy for soldiers to attack them. Sources indicate that the separatists gave him a cell phone, asking him to tell his military interlocutor that he had been caught before cutting off his foot to teach him a lesson. The Kumba incident comes barely days after the public execution of 2 civilians in Guzang, in Batibo in the northwest region. The separatists riddled them with bullets after accusing them of complicity with the army.
And the killing of 2 men in Batibo, Batibo Division, Northwest region has provoked anger and condemnations from Cameroonians from all walks of life. Among those who expressed anger is Barrister Akere Muna, while weeping for the continuous bloodbath in the Anglophone regions. Akere Muna on his Twitter account called for dialogue as a means to find lasting solutions to the Anglophone crisis.
Residents of Guzang, a town in the Batibo subdivision of the Northwest region in Cameroon, are in a state of shock following the public execution of 2 men by separatists. Bayimin Singh Hansindi and Aburo Clayton John were accused by separatists and public anger across Cameroon. Renowned lawyer Barrister Akere Muna, who hails from the area, expressed deep sorrow after watching the heartbreaking video on social media. Barrister Akere Muna expressed disappointment that those advocating for peace and seeking international attention must continually justify while the efforts are constantly undermined. He strongly called for dialogue as a means to find a peaceful solution to the ongoing crisis. The senior divisional officer for Momo Division in the Northwest region, Fuda Etaba Binwal, also condemned the killing, describing it as barbaric and unacceptable. He assured the public that security forces are currently carrying out investigation. The dead bodies of Bayimin Singh Hansindi has been taken to the Bali mortuary, while that of Aburu Cliquez, Congo.
And 3 human traffickers of human bones have been apprehended in the noon. They attempted to sell human bones at Magba. A student journalist on internship, Kiga, tells us more.
In a dramatic turn of events, law enforcement officials in Fumban successfully apprehended 3 individuals believed to be at the center of human bone trafficking ring. The investigation started since last week, September 28, when information reached the commissioner, Jean-Luc Jabier, reporting an attempt to sell human bones at Magwa. They were presented to the press few days ago at the esplanade of the Public Security Police station in the town of Fumban. The suspects were identified as Kwandu Ilias, 33 years old, Njimesa Amidu, 30 years old, and this lady of 24 years old, Muchi Ajara. Investigations allege that they have been acquiring human bones through various illicit means. During the arrest, the law enforcement officials seized a number of human bones, including skulls and other skeletal remains. The law enforcement got the suspect, and this is what they discovered with them.
Étant entré en contact téléphonique avec l'un des
quality purchase human bones, a telephone in which we were able to get to one of the buyers to deliver 4 human bones in an average of 20 million francs, another 30 million francs, an initial payment which was confirmed by Amidou, and that was already a proof.
Confirmer l'intérêt.
The Public Security Commissioner, Jean-Luc Jabier of the city of Fumban, invites the population to collaborate.
Nous faisons de la lutte contre la...
We are doing our best to fight against criminality, but our efforts can only be apprehended only if the population collaborate with us. We promise the population of Fumban that we will bring them peace and tranquility.
Sérénité, tranquillité.
We are reminded that the young people of the Noon Division are no longer interested in school or work. They want easy money at all costs, a phenomenon much criticized by Sultan Nabil, 20th King of Bamun, who made the fight against organized crime was one of his main challenges to overcome it.
And we take you to the Mongo division in the littoral region, where uniformed officers have cracked down on some criminals involved in the consumption and sale of drugs. The suspects were presented to the press as a student journalist on internship. Christy Array reports.
An imported stock of drugs. The Punjab Public Security Commissioner recently carried out a major operation to combat insecurity and drug trafficking. Through persistent effort, the authorities managed to apprehend a group of criminals engaged in the consumption and trade of drugs of all kinds. The rate of criminality in these various quarters are alarming. There are gangs of groups who are into the importation of strong drugs in different quarters, like Bangmo, Kakaunto, Sangam. These quarters are regarded to be criminal zones. There have been cases of stealing and even rape. 7 suspects were simultaneously arrested, 3 women and 4 men. During the raid, the police seized 600 bags of hard drugs ready for distribution in the local market. The bags contained heavy drugs, significant amounts of money, mobile phones, and equipment used for drug preparation. In the morning, we carried out an operation in this quarter in which we got 7 individuals we caught with heavy drugs, commonly known as gang sugar. We also caught a heavy sum of money. Individuals in the community applaud the efforts of the security forces. I address my sincere greetings to the forces because they are taking the lead. The arrested suspects have been placed in custody and will find charges of drug trafficking, which carry severe prison sentences upon conviction.
An upsurge in criminality in the towns of Douala and Yaoundé, especially via the commercial motorbike sector, is alarming. Territorial Administration ministers wage war against motorbike riders selling or trading bikes who continue to exercise the profession without identification papers. In a roundtable discussion this Friday in Yaoundé, Paul Atanganji promised heavy sanctions on both commercial bike riders and without who go about the profession or who go about carrying passengers without identification papers. More in the following story with a student journalist on internship, Chelsea Kwan.
The break time is over and they must face the law. These are the words of Paul Atanganji this Friday as he addressed bike riders' trade unions and the Union of Bike Vendors and Importers. Henceforth, importation and commercialization of motorbikes goes with the identification and registering of the buyer.
Motorbikes, they have the moral obligation to identify all those who are coming to purchase. That is where the identification process will start. Any person who is coming to buy a motorcycle, you have to identify him. And all the local administrative authorities have been instructed to go down and verify.
The Minister of Territorial Administration warns that failure by importers to comply with the new orientation
we will do our job. So those who don't want to go through the identification process will not be part of this game again. And its break time is over. Whether people like it or not, we have the laws and the laws of land must be respected. So that is.
During today's meeting attended by the governors of the Centre and Littoral regions, SDOs and DOs, the minister gave October 30 as the deadline for all to be in compliance with the law as sensitization goes on. Rising crimes such as rape, theft, kidnappings and accidents, mostly via motorbikes, were revisited. The vendors ready to comply.
We won't sell bike to any person who is not having a means of identification, that is, national ID card, and the person who is not ready to register his bike under the Ministry of Transport. We won't entertain those customers.
Decisions to instill sanity in the sector and security in the two regions.
And inhabitants of the New Town Airport neighborhood in Douala, whose houses were demolished yesterday, have expressed frustration, with most still stranded on the spot. They now spend half of their day picking items that can reuse from the demolished houses. The demolition, which took place at the early hours of October 5, 2023, has rendered most families homeless, with some of them spent nights on unpleasant places. Our reporter Saleh Sharifa reports.
Kemaju Severin is still traumatized after the demolition of her house. She contemplates on what her next step will be with her 5 children. She says she has been sheltering in the church while her children have been squatting with their classmates and friends. We were supposed to be banned from building in this zone since it was a red zone, because what pushed us to build is that when the divisional officer installed quarter and blockheads, we were assured the area is safe. On Abdullahi Yahya's side, he will have to find another source of income to feed with his family. His 2 apartments, which served as a source of income for the past 15 years, have been shattered to pieces. To him, the sum of financial compensation shared by the government for owners can't replace his investment in the land. All I have worked in my life, this is where I came to invest, and now I don't know what to do next. And we just finished with the back to school. The children's fees are already paid, and then this happens. We are traumatized. The news of demolition came to them as a shock, for they had no plan to leave the neighborhood. Those we met on the site told Canal, the team of reporters, that some victims have been admitted in hospitals as they could not stand the demolition.
And preparations are hotting up ahead of the grand and prestigious Canal Awards ceremony, but for the fact that fraudsters have begun offering fake Canal invitation cards to interested persons and rob them of huge sums of money, the organizing committee has called the attention of the population that invitation cards for the events are not for sale. Gladys Ambodiba tells us more.
Each edition has sparked particular excitement not just in Cameroon but also in the Central African sub-region. It has been the dream of everyone to watch the event live at the premise, except for the fact that only an invitation card gives anyone access to the hall, but these cards are not for sale. A warning from the organizing committee as a result of fraudulent activities being carried out on social network by unscrupulous men who claim are in possession of the invitation cards of the 14th edition of Canal and are inviting interested persons to buy. Only the organizing committee has the sole right to give out these invitation cards. These, under strict conditions, reason why they are not for sale. The committee urges the population to be vigilant and avoid black markets. Updates on the invitation cards and different access categories will be communicated after each meeting of the committee. Same information will equally be made available on the official page of Canal and at the headquarters of Canal International and its various representations. Canal one of the most prestigious award ceremony, will be broadcast live to permit those not opportune to have invitation cards to watch and share the emotions. Arrangements are being made to ensure the event is also broadcast on digital and partner channels. Therefore, beware of swindlers.
And that report on Canal by Gladys Ambodiba brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is The Brief with Matthew Fangwas. From here, we'll be back same time, but this time around on Monday. Good night.